Hello. In this session, the plan is to make a little tortoise out of some salt dough. Now, I've got some salt dough here, and the way you make this is very simple. So you need a little cup of white plain flour, half a cup of salt, and half a cup of water. You mix all of that together, and you end up with this lovely little ball of salt dough. If it gets too wet and sticky, just put some more flour with it and keep it fairly dry because you don't want it to get too sloppy. Now, I've got this nice little ball of salt dough, and you might find that you're not allowed to use very much flour at the moment, so you don't need very much. You could actually just have a little pot of it. Now I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to first of all roll it in my hands into a ball. Now I actually made this salt dough yesterday, so it's drying out a little bit, so if you make it, yours will probably be a better consistency than mine. And I'm using my hands just to flatten it out a bit, like a little veggie burger sort of thickness. And I don't want it too thin, and I don't want it too thick. If it's too thin, it's just a little bit fragile, I guess, to work with, and if it's too thick, it would just take forever to dry. So this is the beginning of the shell of my little tortoise. And as you can see, that's going to be the shell. So I might use something to just give a little bit of a print onto his shell. I found an old shell in my studio here, and I'm going to just actually print it a little bit. And it doesn't matter what you use. You could use anything just to get some marks. You might use a button or a cork or a cocktail pin, a cocktail stick. Anything at all that you want to use, you can. Let's see what those do. They make some quite nice little marks as well. So I'm going to have some little marks made on his shell or her shell. And then what I'm going to do, use a little bit of tin foil like this and scrunch it up to make a ball. And then I'm going to drape, make that a bit smaller maybe. I'm going to drape the little shell over my tin foil ball. And the reason I'm using foil is that this might go into the oven, so that's safe to go in the oven. Now you can see there's the shell. Now I need to make my head, so again I'm going to cut this, let's see, in half again. So we're going to have, we need, what do we need? We need 4 feet. So I'm going to do those 2 and 2 like that. And then I'm going to have a head and a tail. So again, you just roll the salt dough in your palm of your hands to make a nice, beautiful shape. This is my little tortoise head, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a neck shape there as well, just to give him a little bit of shaping. 4 little feet in whatever way you want to do them. And I'm doing this very quickly to show you, but you can spend a lot of time taking your time to make something really beautiful and considered. And you may not just want dumpy little feet like these. You may want to fashion them a little bit more, so that actually they're a little bit more feet-like. That's a bit big for a tail, so I'm going to cut that in half and have a little tail. And all I'm going to do is actually put a little bit of water just to actually sort of stick it together. A little bit of water, which I hope works. I think it works. Now, if this falls apart, don't worry, because you could then use some PVA glue, ordinary glue, once it's actually dry. A little bit of water otherwise should do the trick. Now, I'm putting these on here. Ideally, I should probably be doing this in the baking tray as we speak, so that actually he can just go in the oven. But when I experimented with this, I found that actually you can leave these dry in the air and they could be okay, just air drying. Now I'm squashing that bit of clay, bit of salt dough down onto my feet to make it stick. I'm going to put his little tail in there. And there we have a little friendly tortoise. He needs some eyes, so I'm just using my pencil here just to give him some little eyes. You may want to do something else. You could give him a little smile or a face. But at this point, all I want to do is actually sort of let him dry. Now, if you were to leave that overnight just in the air dry like that, he would dry out, because I've tried this with a little heart and actually it makes it quite biscuity. So that's just leaving it to dry in the air. But if you're a bit more impatient and you want to pop him in the oven, you put him on the lowest heat and you probably put him in there for 2 to 3 hours. It could be a long time of just very slow baking. And then he will be crisp and ready to paint. And then you can paint him beautifully, or her beautifully, and then you could varnish with some PVA glue and then some environmentally friendly glitter, some embellishing with some jewels and some gorgeous sequins, and really sort of go to town to make the little tortoise or turtle quite dramatic. So there you go. Then he goes in his little baking tray into the oven. Now, I might try and read this now. Let's see if he's going to move. But as I was saying, you're probably better off making this already on the tray. Oh, here we go. Now, I've put a little bit of oil on my tray there, so that when he goes in the oven, when he comes out, he will be easy to take him off. But there you go. So that should be fine. And the tin foil should be okay. You can then take the foil away when it's all cooked and paint your little creation. Good luck. Bye for now.